Welcome to day 2 of our journey in this spiritual rhythm called the Sabbath. My name is Aaron. I serve as the pastor at the Christ Church Crossroads campus. John Mark Comer does an excellent job of laying out the argument for Sabbath in his book, The Ruthless, Elimination of Hurry. Highly recommend. He begins his chapter on Sabbath by explaining why he gets out of bed. And I'll pose the question to you. Why do you get out of bed in the morning? It could be any number of things, right? Spending time with God, watching the sunrise, accomplishing your to-do list, caring for someone, whether it's kids or a loved one, catching up on chores, going to work, responsibility to a boss, responsibility to clients, running a business. The list is virtually endless, and I'm sure that I left some of you out. I know that. But for all of us, there is a reason we get out of bed, and it boils down to desire. We all have desires. Desires are a great motivator, and desire is what gets us out of bed. But if at any point desire is no longer under our control and is instead driving our lives, we're in trouble. Because when you take a closer look at the dynamics of desire, you realize desire is one of those things that is never, ever satisfied. Even back in 1000 BC, in the book of Ecclesiastes, we read, quote, "The eye never has enough of seeing and the ear its fill of hearing." 13th century intellectual Thomas Aquinas once asked the question, what would satisfy our desire? What would it take to feel satisfied? The answer he came up with was everything. We would have to experience everything and everybody, and be experienced by everyone and everybody to be satisfied. This is because we were created for more than this world and this life. But this feeling of so much just being out of our reach is called being human. Because we were created for eternity, and there are so many limits placed on this life, the resulting experience is restlessness. St. Augustine put it this way in his famous quote, "You have made us for yourself, and our heart is restless until it rests in you." A modern quote to this end comes from someone named Dallas Willard. Some of you are familiar with his work, when he says, "Desire is infinite, partly because we were made by God, made for God, made to need God, and made to run on God. We can be satisfied only by the one who is infinite, eternal, and able to supply all our needs. We are only at home in God." Love that quote. Our lives of materialism, busyness, overload, shopping, careerism, more and more and more, makes us even more restless. Technology and social media and binge watching only makes this challenge even more prevalent. And I should make myself clear, in moderation, many if not all of these things are fun and entertaining and amusing. However, when we allow them to take the place of our true desire, we will only find that we want and go back for more. And there's a practice directly applicable from the Bible, starting all the way back in Genesis and through the life of Jesus, that is meant to provide rest for our souls. And that practice is Sabbath. The word Sabbath means stop. In the Old Testament, and even into the days of the early church, what was meant by Sabbath was one of the 7 days of the week, usually Saturday, was set aside to stop, to cease from work. And that is where our text for today comes in, a restatement of the law. Remember, we read Exodus 20 last week. There's a restatement in Exodus 35, verses 1 through 2. And it says this, "Moses assembled the whole Israelite community and said to them, 'These are the things the Lord has commanded you to do. For 6 days work is to be done, but the seventh day shall be your holy day, a day of Sabbath rest to the Lord.'" This, of course, was following the pattern God laid down for humankind in the creation account, where in Genesis it took God 6 days to create everything, and on the seventh day, he rested. Tomorrow we're going to continue this series on the Sabbath, and I look forward to seeing you